Hey fam, I want you to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications. All right, folks, Donald Trump and his allies are attacking a black woman who's also Muslim, Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. The attacks are supposedly about her not giving proper weight to the 9/11 attacks, but they really come from the same place as Trump's statements on Mexican rapists, the Muslim ban of five people on both sides. This is real simple. This is all a plan by Donald Trump to get white folks hyped and angry at people of color. They are not happy with demographic changes in America. This is all about white fear. And if Trump's tweets increase death threats to Omar, that's simply collateral damage, and he does not care. Because in 2020, he plans on running the same campaign he ran in 2016. All about fear. What Donald Trump and the GOP are doing, they are simply trying to trash any person of color in order to stoke their largely white base. Constant attacks on Congresswoman Maxine Waters. In fact, she has caused 4 white supremacists to go to jail for death threats against her. Constant attacks against New York Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Constant attacks against Ilhan Omar. What he wants is the Democratic Party to also trash them. Some Democrats have been doing that, denouncing Omar. Others also denounce Trump. It plays right into his hands where he wants Democrats challenging one another and firing one another. A number of Democratic presidential candidates have come out in support of Omar, and many people say his actions are shameful. Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House, she also said that she is looking at security procedures to ensure that Ilhan Omar, has the proper protection. She has, of course, condemned this as well. And so Donald Trump sent a video out, again, trying to link her to 9/11. I'm going to play it for a reason, because this is not about amplifying what Donald Trump did. What this is about is getting you to understand what is at play here. And what we have that's at play is a man who will do, let me be clear, a man who will do anything and say anything in order to win. You need to understand what he is doing. The New York Post, their front page story on Omar. What did they do? They also, of course, tried to somehow suggest that she was trivializing 9/11. Then you have Congressman Dianne Crenshaw, a veteran, who went along attacking her as well, even though she sits on the commission trying to ensure that those who were impacted health-wise by 9/11 get paid. Guess who doesn't sit on that? Dan Crenshaw. And so what you have here is by design, a Republican president, by Donald Trump, backed by his own party. 89% of Republicans support Donald Trump for president. And you hear him attacking her. So this is the video. And I want you to see it because you need to understand what people of conscience are up against in 2020. We are up against a man and a party that will do anything, say anything in order to remain in power. Steve Bannon has already said that if Donald Trump wins another 4 years, he will be unleashed because there will be no repercussions for him not to do whatever he wants to do. This is what Donald Trump sent out 3 days ago on his Twitter feed.
CARE was founded after 9/11 because they recognized that some people did something.
So you have no idea right now?
There's another one. Another plane just hit.
Some people did something.
Oh my goodness, there is smoke pouring out of the Pentagon.
Some people did something.
It just flew straight into it.
Care was found.
94,000 retweets, 256,000 likes. Let's go to my panel. Dr. Avis Jones-DeWeaver, leadership strategist, who joins us. Linda McAllister, political analyst, former GOP congressional candidate, and also Malik Abdul, vice president, Black Conservative Federation. First, I'll start with you, Liddy, and that is, here's a man who first, on 9/11, mentioned how his building now will be the tallest building in New York as a result of the World Trade Center towers coming down. A man who said that he helped when it came to the rubble in New York, lie. A man who said he saw Muslims celebrating across the Hudson in New Jersey, lie. A man who said he donated $10,000 to the Fund for Survivors, lie. A man who said he knew a number of people who died that day in New York City, lie. So for him to attack Congresswoman Ilhan Omar when he himself has lied repeatedly about 9/11 shows what kind of man Donald Trump is, Lenny.
Well, we're talking about it in the wrong ways. He's a politician, and we have seen for years that politicians will use whatever they choose to use in order to make sure that they can win. I mean, I just had a history lesson just last week with people in regards to the 1990 Jesse Helms ad against Harvey Gantt and the use of the word quota. This is the same type of thing. It's more aghast in regards to the fact that we're talking about 9/11 and we're spinning words there. But it's the same playbook, and we've seen it in American politics for decades, if not for centuries now. The problem is what you're finding more and more often is people are willing to be violent. People are willing to try to plan to take other people's lives. And as I said, when we approached 2016, we're moving into the 1960s all over again, just with more guns and a smaller world due to social media. And this just seems to be an example of it, unfortunately.
Avis Jones-DeWeaver, again, when you look at what Donald Trump is doing, he ran on fear in 2016. He's running on fear in 2020. He wants to send the signal to white folks, look, demographics are changing. I'm your last great white hope.
Absolutely. I mean, in my eyes, this is more than just regular political speak. On the one hand, as you mentioned, it's absolutely playing into white fear. It's propaganda, I would say. This is more than regular politics. This is propaganda. That's the type of commercial you would expect to see in authoritarian societies, okay? And in addition to that, I just find it very interesting that here is a president whose wife has some Be Best initiative around anti-cyberbullying, and he is engaging in tactics that we know are radicalizing white supremacists, not only as it relates to this specific incident and the threats that have happened in relation to that, but we know what happened with the individual who sent bombs to various different media outlets, as well as elected officials, current elected officials, and former elected officials. We know about the radicalization of the individual who went into the newsroom in Baltimore and murdered journalists. We know about other instances of individuals who have been radicalized by the statements from this person who is occupying 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. And he knows it too. That's the thing that I think people really need to understand. He's not an idiot, even though he plays one on TV. He understands what he is doing. The point is he does not care about the implications. So he is willing to risk lives and actually see people die in order to stay in power. And that is something we need to face, no matter how ugly it is to admit it. That is the harsh truth.
Malik?
The idea that a politician should use some sort of tragedy.
Okay, Malik, hold on one second. We have some issues with your audio. Now try again. Let's see if we got it figured out.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, the idea that a politician is using some sort of tragedy for a political gain, that's nothing new. You just listed off of a number of those things that Donald Trump said about 9/11, and he's been roundly criticized for that. Congresswoman Omar, she's made comments that people have found offensive. What has happened is that, well, people have said that, well, we're trying to interpret what she meant. And as I said on the show several times, you know, she may have not meant it the way that those things have come across. But the reality is that what she said was that some people did things, and some people did more. It was more than some people just doing things. Terrorists. People came to our country. They were in our country. They terrorized our country on that day. So it wasn't that some people just did things. Some people did a lot of bad things. And I think that is where the missing link is. But the idea that Donald Trump somehow is playing to some sort of fear that's different than any other political fear, whether it's John Lewis talking about John McCain or Mitt Romney, it's the same sort of fear. So I don't see. You know, I saw the ad and I was like, how about that?
Well, here's the deal, Malik. Here's the deal, Malik. If we want to be serious about this, and he wants to attack Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, look at the praise Donald Trump has constantly given to Saudi Arabia. And where did most of the terrorists come from? Saudi Arabia. When you look at Khashoggi, how they killed a journalist in the United States. Donald Trump praises them. The bottom line is he should be roundly condemned for it because he's also simply a hypocrite.
Well, sure, you can say that you're right. He has been roundly condemned, but you can say that he's being a hypocrite. But I don't think that him being a hypocrite is any different than any other politician, whether it's the former attorney general.
I'm not discussing any other politician. I'm discussing Donald Trump. I'm discussing the man sitting in the Oval Office who has no sense of decency, a man who doesn't care if somebody else receives death threats, a man who simply will lie with impunity. That's who I'm discussing.
Yeah, and that happens all the time. We have politicians making those same comments about Donald Trump now, whereas they're not calling for any death threats, and Donald Trump isn't either. But there are politicians now that are calling for, whether it's Maxine Waters, whether it's Cory Booker, those people who are in my view, inciting violence in the same way that many believe that Donald Trump.
No, how is Senator Cory Booker inciting violence? What's your evidence?
The one that said you had to get up in their faces? He wasn't the one who said that?
No. You said he did. What's your facts? Back it up. You said Senator Cory Booker and Congresswoman Maxine Waters inciting violence. Where are the facts?
Well, I think we talked about it on your show. So you're saying that they didn't make those comments?
No. I'm asking you. Where's the proof? No. You're asking me to confirm something you said. Where's your proof? What did they say?
Well, I don't have it right here. I can pull it up on my phone.
Pull it. Okay, fine. No. Pull your phone up. I'm gonna go to Lenny. Lenny, your thoughts.
Well, the bottom line is Donald Trump, ever since 2015, had no problem telling people, hey, if you just knock this guy out at my rally, I'll pay for your legal fees. You know, in my day, we would carry them out on a stretcher. This is something that's been part of his rhetoric, the bad boy, tough guy rhetoric, since he came down that escalator in 2015. This is nothing new. The difference is that as president of the United States, it puts a certain type of political blessing upon it that does oftentimes have the influence of making people go from rhetoric to action. That's what we have to be mindful of. And I think that when we look at how to deal with this, we're going to have to make sure that we have leaders that are going to look at political solutions on both sides of the aisle. You're going to have to see more Republicans take a step back and say, even if the president is going to say something that we would disagree with from a rhetorical standpoint that's out there in the public sphere, we have to come back and say something that's going to make sense and redirect people with conservative principles, with Republican principles that are going to allow people to not only have a direction, but I would dare say from a political standpoint, start reestablishing some trust in the Republican brand again, because as we well know, the Republican brand has taken a hit with the middle and the left over the years that Donald Trump has been on the scene.
Avis, before I go back to Malik, hopefully he's found his proof. Avis, the bottom line is Republican brand is irrelevant. They care about power. They will support Donald Trump until the end.
Absolutely. They don't give a damn about the brand. They've shown that by their actions and by their inactions related to this person. That's reality. Now, I think it's very important that we talk about his particular behavior in the broader context of the history of this nation and the contemporary reality of this nation. The fact of the matter is there has never been a left-wing terrorist machine like there has been throughout the history of this nation. We have always had right-wing racist terrorists in this country that has largely targeted Black people. And it has expanded over the years, and other people, but primarily Black people. And we know now that ever since this person started running for office, I mean, this begins even during the campaign, we saw the statistics shows that there has been an increase in membership in right-wing racist and I would argue terrorist organizations. We also know in the past 2 years since he's been in office, there has been a spike in right-wing terrorist violence in America. So you know, it's interesting to me how people are trying to make this argument that this is just another way that politicians on both sides rally their base. It is not the same. This is like the ultimate false equivalency. You know, what do we have in this nation that is similar to Nazi organizations or the KKK in terms of constantly perpetrating violence against individuals of color? We just had churches burning down in Louisiana. We just had people shot and killed in synagogues. We are having this type of activity all the time. And what do we have in common? We have it happening under an auspices where you have a president of the United States spewing racist, hateful rhetoric that is emboldening these racists, and in his name they are committing these acts. So, you know, I would love to have some sort of theoretical argument about, oh, well, the left does it too. Bull. OK, the left does not do it like this because there is no equivalent to the right wing terrorist machine that has been in this country for centuries and that still exists in this country today. And that is being emboldened under this administration.
Malik, have you found that proof?
Well, I correct myself. It wasn't Cory Booker who actually said the comments about pushing it back. That was Maxine Waters.
And what did she say? No. What was the quote?
From Maxine Waters?
Yes.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out there and you create a crowd and you push back on them and you tell them that they're not welcome anymore.
Hold up. You said you tell them you're not welcome anymore. How is that inciting violence? Well,
so if Donald Trump had said that, it wouldn't be inciting violence.
No. Hold on. No, Malik. I want you to. Malik. Inciting violence said, go beat him up. Inciting violence said, punch him. Inciting violence said, I'll pay your legal fees if you knock him the hell out.
So you're
violence is a physical confrontation.
Okay.
No, Malik, I'm asking you, you are a Republican communications consultant, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which means you advise folks on how to communicate.
Right.
She said, tell them you're not welcome. Where does she say go beat them the hell up?
Well, you're referring to comments that Trump made, I believe, in 2015 or 2016. So if we're going to talk about things that he actually said, things that incited people to violence, we have to refer to 2016. So I'm
asking you again. Where's the comment where Congresswoman Maxine Waters said, "Hey, go knock them the hell out, and I'll pay your legal fees"? Did she ever say that?
As someone who's known people who have been attacked because they're Trump supporters, as someone
no. Nice deflection. I'm asking you again. Where is the Malik? Where's the statement? Malik, where's the statement? Where's the statement where Congresswoman Maxine Waters said, "Go beat him up"?
Well, that's how I interpret the statement.
I thought so.
Much like you interpret Trump's statement.
No. Actually, no, Malik, you're wrong. I don't interpret Trump statements.
Yes,
I read Trump. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Lenny. I'm sorry, Lenny.
Because that's a convenient argument.
Let me go to the other Republican. Lenny, didn't you previously say about 3 minutes ago that Trump said at his own rallies, beat him up, we used to knock him the hell out, I'll pay your legal fees?
And to the larger point, this is the problem that the Republican brand has, is we have this intellectual dishonesty going on. The bottom line is this presidential candidate moving into winning the election.
I'm not intellectually dishonest.
Well, you're either that or you completely are ignoring.
Hold on, one second. Lenny, go ahead. Then Malik respond.
I have an opinion.
Malik, let's just be honest. This is what Mr. Trump did say. And on top of that, you did see people attacked at his rally. Now, I understand why you may want to say that didn't happen. I get it. When you wear the hat, you got to walk the rhetoric. But if we're going to be honest with ourselves, this did happen, and it was said.
Hold on, Malik. Don't talk over. Lenny, finish your point. Malik, I'll go back to you. Lenny, go ahead.
The bottom line is Mr. Trump did say these things, and these things did happen at his rallies. In fact, one African-American man that attended a rally got basically elbowed by an older white man, and I do believe it was in North Carolina where this happened, soon after the "I'll pay your legal fee" statement was made. So these things did transpire. There's been a lot of skirting the line and then acting as though these things weren't said afterwards. This is what's unfortunate. Now, we as conservatives, Malik, and I would ask you in essence, that you would at least be honest with this, remember this, and then help walk this back so that we can make a better country. I understand the allure of the hat, but at some point in time, what's underneath the brim of your hat needs to mean more, and what's supposed to be in your breast is supposed to mean more for the country than what you're wearing on your head right now.
Malik, your response before I go to my next topic.
Well, first of all, Lenny, we've never had a conversation, so you don't need to have on the show telling me about intellectual dishonesty. I've criticized Trump's comments
generally as Republicans, not specifically you.
I criticized. Well, okay, well, now it's my time to talk. So I criticized Trump for those comments in 2016, 2017, 2018, and I can criticize them now. I can walk in true garments at the very same time. So I don't need you to tell me or make any comments about what you think is under my head. You don't get to make that decision for me. I've criticized Trump. I need you to go back and look at the previous shows that I've been on in Roland where they've actually made those type of comments. So you can have an opinion about what you think about me, but the facts are on my side. You don't know me. You haven't had a conversation with me.
I'm listening to you, child of God. I'm listening to you.
On the show, you need to actually go and check the facts and stop making assumptions based on things that you think. You don't know anything about me to make those type of comments.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. Calling all HBCU alumni, students, and leaders, enter the Ford Motor Company HBC-You Mobility Challenge and win $25,000 for your school. Building on their long-term support of HBCUs, Ford is looking to improve mobility in HBCU communities through innovative solutions. The winning program will receive a grant of up to $25,000 to implement the proposal. The deadline to apply has been extended to April 15th. That is today. So go to FGB.Life for more information to apply. I'll say go to this website today. Don't wait. Tomorrow it's too late. So go to FGB.Life for more info and to apply. And remember, Ford goes further in our community. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video.